Hey guys, this is my Game 11 recap of the World Chess Championship between Ding Liren and Gukesh. So Gukesh starts with the white pieces. He starts with knight f3. We get d5, and we get c4. We get d4. This is a pretty committal move. Black doesn't want to accept, as white will get the center and a lot of development. So after d4, we get b4. This is one of the critical lines in the ready. We get c5, e3, and we get knight f6. So right here, as you can see, Ding thought for around like 40 minutes, almost 40 minutes, a little less. But he could have taken, but this is a sharp line. And he said that he was calculating a lot, but he decided to go with knight f6. And he said it was a bit of a waste of his time. And we'll see later in the game that it hurts him. So we get a3. This is a bit of a novelty. It hasn't been played that much, but has been played in a few games. And then after a3, we get bishop g4. And now I believe both players are out of prep. So Gukesh takes a think, just trades real quick, and plays h3. Although Gukesh is playing quick here, so perhaps he was still in prep. We get knight c7, and then we get d3. And it was perhaps here where he was out of prep, because this was his first think of the game. It was around 6 minutes. Here he should have played c5 if he had his prep and wanted to get an advantage out of the opening. But d3 is a solid move. We get a5 from Ding. Logical move, challenging white's pawn structure right here on the queen side. We get b5, keeping the structure closed, not opening lines. Knight d7 and g3, and knight c5. And I believe, here Gukesh had a really long think, because he realized that he messed up his position. And as you can see, Ding also spent a lot of time here as well in the opening. So both players are low on time, and Gukesh believes he's worse, but Ding also thought he was kind of worse in this position as well. So we get knight d7, we get castles. It's a complicated position, but knight e5, queen f4, rook d8, defending this pawn right here. And both knights are hitting this pawn, so Gukesh plays here. And again, this knight is pinned because the queen is undefended there. So here e6 makes the most sense. We have bishop d7 so that this knight is freed, hitting this pawn twice. And white is in a lot of trouble, but he goes g6. So now he's wasting time. This basically gives white the time to strike back. So we get a4 with ideas of bringing the knight or bishop to this square. We get h5 with ideas of bringing the bishop here. We get b6, we get queen d6, we get bishop a3, and then we get bishop h6. We get takes, we get queen e4. So it's pretty balanced for both sides, but white's got some extra space here. If black ever takes, there's going to be counter on the b file with the rooks. So we get knight c6, knight e3. This knight could hop in here, and rook could go to b1. We get rook d7. Gukesh decides to reroute his knight this way to c2. And it's, I guess, to put pressure on this pawn, also counter this knight going to b4. We get queen takes b6, and then we get the counterplay with the rook going to b1. Queen goes to c7. We get rook b5. This rook is now in a strong square. This knight will never be able to block the rook from hitting this pawn. So now black's pieces are a bit stuck. We get castles, and then we get knight a1, which is a good idea, going to b3 and putting pressure here just putting the knight on a good square, but it's a bit slow. Allows black to create counterplay with rook d6, rook e6, but that's an engine line. So we get rook b8, which is still a good move. We get knight b3, makes sense. He played knight e1 for a reason. We get e6, and this is a huge mistake. Again, only way to fight on was rook here and rook d6 and e6. I believe before here he had an option of playing e5 at some moment or something, but after playing his rook here, black is running out of options. And after e6, the knight hops in, hitting the rook, hitting this pawn. Get rook e7, and now apparently there's a knight takes b7 tactic, but that's probably complicated, so we won't go into that. But this removes one of the defenders of the knight, so there's, yeah, so it takes, and you just take the knight, I believe. Something like that. Yeah, so the knight moves. Anyway, we get rook b1. Now, knight b4 would have been Ding's way to basically fight for a draw. But we get a blunder as Ding is low on time, along with Gukesh, but Ding's a bit lower. They still need quite a bit of moves to make time control. So he blitzes out queen c8, losing to a tactic where after takes, if pawn takes, you take the rook and the queen can't get out of the way. And if queen takes, there's obviously there's bishop takes, and again, you're losing the rook. So Ding resigns, and that's game 11. So it was a really unfortunate game for Ding. He was playing well in the opening, even though he got out of prep early on, and along with Gukesh. But Ding just spent way too much time in the opening, and he blundered a simple tactic because in this position, he was actually still completely fine. So it was just the last move where he just blundered a simple tactic. And I think if he had plenty of time here, he would have played knight b4 for sure. But yeah, queen c8. I don't really understand how it helps Ding's position either. I guess it's like it makes the rook see this pawn, right? So there's no like takes, I guess. But again, there's this tactic. So yeah, that was game 11. And now Gukesh is winning the match. So we'll see if Ding bounces back. But that's going to do it for my recap. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.